We've been looking forward to this all week. When it comes to Friday traditions, we're going to have a few every single week here on Real Talk, and that includes Trash Talk, which is presented by the team at Local Waste. Now, here's the deal. This is your chance to get stuff off your chest, and you do it by sending us an email at talk@ryanjesperson.com. Make sure in the subject line you let us know it's a submission for Trash Talk. Sam, are you ready to tee this up? Let's get into some Trash Talk. All right, an email from Lecky. Ryan, it's unreal how the same Jason Kenney who preaches about ethics, transparency, freedoms, and constitutional rights passed Bill 1 outlawing peaceful protest, censors all of Dr. Hinshaw's recommendations, severely weakened workers' rights and employment standards, uses the war room to sole source contracts to his buddies, constantly attacks public health care, plans to sell our public parks against the wishes of the majority of Albertans, and only consults on these matters with hand-picked stakeholders already aligned with his agenda. It seems to me, says Lecky, that COVID is about the only thing he isn't interested in controlling. What about this one from Joe, who says, hey, call me Joe because I can't use my real name on air. I didn't choose to have cancer, says Joe. It isn't my choice that one of the chemo medication risks impairing lung function to save my life means that if I get COVID, my immune system is destroyed, my lungs sensitive. There's a high likelihood it would literally kill me. I've already voluntarily isolated. I'm the sole provider for a family of 4. I'm 38 years old and physically active. When I hear the Premier say the Charter is his concern, I want to know where he places my right to life. That is my first protected right, and the Charter allows the suspension of any of these rights. He says there's a cure for my cancer, but it's aggressive, it's dangerous, and I'm receiving it in a pandemic. Through the pandemic, I've advanced from stage 1 to 4. I feel that Alberta's Premier's crossing a line that seems traitorous at this point. He says that is not okay. And what about this one from Jay, who says on Tuesday, both the Premier of Alberta and the Health Minister stated anybody can work from home, should work from home. Yet here I find myself day after day driving into school so I can teach my online class. Last week, my best friend, also teaching online from her school, contracted COVID-19. This could have been avoided. So the question remains, when will the government start listening to advice? Why are we and other workers expected to come in even though we could do our jobs from home? Is it for optics because we're public sector employees, or is it simply because our lives aren't valued? Says Jay, I don't want to assume it's the latter, but I honestly don't know anymore. And here's my trash talk for this week. I'm not going to get all meta about leaks. We'll take that on again on Monday. I'm not even going to talk about COVID restrictions. I want to talk to you about the way that the Premier's staff is conducting themselves to journalists. CBC journalist Jenny Russell pushed out yesterday evidence that the Premier's Deputy Press Secretary Harrison Fleming is grinding an axe in doing the course of his duties. In fact, to quote Mr. Fleming, the Deputy Press Secretary of the Premier of Alberta, to a reporter, I'm sure you can appreciate that not everyone has the luxury of receiving a guaranteed paycheck from a state-funded broadcaster who receives over $1.2 billion tax dollars every year. Mr. Fleming and Premier Kenney, your personal problem with the public broadcaster has absolutely nothing to do with journalists carrying out their duties expecting transparency and professionalism from the highest political office in the province. It starts time to get off your high horse and start treating journalists and the office you represent with respect. That is unacceptable. And this is Trash Talk, brought to you by Local Waste.